We're glad you're with us this afternoon. My name is Beth Goad, and I use she, her pronouns. I am the Director of Orientation here at the University of Puget Sound, and we're really excited to welcome you this evening to our webinar. We're going to be talking about planning for coming to campus in just a few short weeks. So to get us started, we'll go around and we will do introductions. I have a number of panelists here, and I will serve as your moderator to ask those questions. So first, we are going to go to Residence Life.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Ricker. I use he, him pronouns, and I am the resident director here at UPS, and I oversee our North Quad areas. So if you are a student living in Anderson, Langdon, Schiff, or Harrington, I oversee those residence halls.
All right, and next we have our passages coordinators.
Hey guys, my name is Max, he, him pronouns, and I am one of your passages coordinators. I'm a rising junior this year.
And I'm Amelie. I use she, her pronouns. I'm also a passages coordinator, and I'm also a rising junior.
Great. Next we have our fraternity and sorority life students.
Hi, I'm Caitlin. I use she, her pronouns. I am the Panhellenic president, which is the council that oversees all of the sororities, and I'm an incoming senior this year.
Hi, I'm Will. I'm the president of IFC, or the Interfraternal Council on campus, and a member of Sigma Alpha Epsilon. And I'm also a rising senior.
Next we have ASEPs.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Archie Kerr, he, him pronouns. I'm a member of the class of 2027, so rising senior, and I'm the president of the Associated Students of the University of Puget Sound, or ASEPS.
Hi, I'm Grace. I use she, her pronouns. I'm also a rising senior, and I'm the vice president of ASEPS.
Thank you. And next we have one of our student success coaches.
Hey y'all, my name is Will Holland. I use he, him pronouns, and I am the student success coach. If your last name is A through L as your first letter, if your last name is N through Z, you have Lexi Pickett as your success coach. We're here to answer questions for first year students over the summer and then meet with y'all during your first year to make sure everything is going awesome. Thank y'all for being here today.
And finally, we have our colleagues from CHAWS.
Hello, I'm Dr. Kelly Brown, and I am the Director of Counseling, Health, and Wellness Services, affectionately called CHAWS. And I use she, her pronouns. And with what I'm hoping is that you will come in and see us for all of your health, counseling, and wellness needs.
Hello, my name is Libby Baldwin. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the medical director in our Counseling, Health, and Wellness Services, and I'm a family nurse practitioner.
Excellent. Thank you all. Now that you know who is here, we will take some questions. So I will ask a couple questions just to get us started. The first question I'll just kick us off with, you can put your questions in the chat if you are looking for a way to ask those questions. So first question is, when can I move in?
As the residence life person, I will definitely be taking that question. So for move-in for first years and transfer students is going to start at 9 a.m. on August 21st. It's really important. You were probably sent details in late June regarding your specific move-in time. You're really going to want to pay attention to that because it's very important with these different residence halls. We kind of try and move in a top-down. So if you've been assigned a room that starts with 3, you're going to start moving in at 9. If you're assigned a room with a 0 and a 4, you start moving in at 9:45. We kind of do it structured and tiered just so that it's not all chaotic, all in craziness at one time. So really, like I said, be sure that you check that that you're not arriving before your designated time, so that we can avoid kind of the congestion and the crazy lines. And And if you do arrive early, we suggest you report to the Welcome Center and complete the check-in steps for passages before reporting to the new residence halls.
Thank you. All right. And I am sorry, I made a mistake saying the chat. I actually meant to say the question and answer box. So we'll use the question answer. We did get our first question. Do our meal swipes for our meal plans for the first semester start the weekend of move-in? And as far as I understand it, they do. The meal swipes will begin on August 21st. The dining will be open that day. All right, our next question is, on move-in day, are there dollies or carts available to get items from our car into the residence hall?
So this is actually my first year as a resident director. I've never seen a move-in. I see Will Thatcher. I see you shaking your head. You want to talk about this a little bit?
I can chime in here. So yes, our mail services on campus, they do have dollies and carts that you can borrow, readily available. We will also have our Greek Life members on campus participating in the move-in assistance team, otherwise known as MAT. I believe they're white shirts that they'll be wearing, and you can't miss them. There's going to be tons of us on campus that day helping you all move in. And I'm pretty sure the football team also will be helping out, carrying like all the heavy things, the bridges, whatnot, upstairs for y'all as well.
Great, thank you. All right, another question. This comes from a parent wondering if there is somewhere to park an RV on campus overnight after move-in until parent orientation. So I think that would be overnight on August 21st, as I understand it. It sounds like that would be something that would need to be arranged with the security department as they oversee the parking lots, from what I understand here. And so that I would reach out to the security office on that. All right, next question. When will students get more details about their passages trips?
Yeah, I'll answer that. So, students should be getting more details, such as who their leaders are and who else is in their group, towards the end of next week, which will be the end of leader training week. Sorry, and in 2 weeks. Wait. You sure? Okay, yeah, sorry. In 2 weeks. They should be getting more information about that. That'll be towards the end of like our training for passages leaders. And yeah, I'll look up to know who their leaders are. Usually passages leaders make a group chat with incoming students either at that point or kind of early on in their passages week. So just look out for that.
Okay, we have another question about items purchased at Grizz's garage sale. Are there carts or dollies available to help anything that they purchase at Grizz's garage sale? Sounds like we are not so sure. All right, my understanding with the dollies that they are readily available, and I don't think Grizz's garage sale would be too far to go with the dolly.
Yeah, you get the dollies at the mail room, which is like in the main building, and then you can kind of take it wherever, and then as long as you return it there, you'll be good to go.
Okay, so the mail room, to clarify, is in the Wheelock Student Center? Okay, great. And then you could use the dolly taking it across campus. All right. Let's see. Next question. Is there an opportunity for students and parents to have a meal together that's provided by the university on either Friday or Saturday?
Yes, there is a time for that. Let me pull up the schedule right now. So they should have free time. On move-in day, they usually have free time from about 7 to 7:30 or like 8 to eat. There'll also be a welcome festival going on from 5 to 7 in the Wheelock Plaza with food that parents and families can also attend with their students. So there will be a variety of opportunities for students to eat with their family before they start their whole week of orientation.
Great, thank you. All right, another question. Do we get lists of books required for class ahead of the time that class starts? Are there options for discounted purchases of books similar to items in Grizz's Garage?
I can try to answer that one. Obviously not under my purview, but yeah, in my experience, the books that are needed for your class will appear in the Puget Sound bookstore. Basically, as soon as your classes are all loaded into the system, there's a feature where you can search for the books you need. Can't say much about discounts, but there are used options for books, which will be cheaper than the new ones. Generally, I think that those books are available in the software. I usually order them like maybe 4 days before classes, but there are a lot of people that wait until the first day of classes is done because there are sometimes professors who will provide the books for free, and so sometimes it's good to wait and see.
There's
Yeah, I
also
can. Oh, go ahead, Grace. Go ahead. You're all good.
you also have like a free kind of textbook library where people will donate their textbooks from like previous classes. It's in I think it's the yellow building. Um, and that one's great. I would go like early when you arrive to campus because there's obviously limited supplies, but it's organized by like biology, chemistry, all of the different like genres. And they are free. You lend them you borrow for the semester and then you return.
All right, next question. Can you explain the timeline for move-in day? Once students are moved in, what do they do next?
So basically, as said previously, move-in will start at 9 and it'll go until about 3:30. And while you're waiting for your move-in slot, there will be some different things going on, such as campus resource tables. ASIPs will have a table. There's axe throwing, not with an actual axe, but you'll see. And then there's also Grizz's Garage you can check out. And then you can also check in for passages. And after that, we'll have convocation at 4 at the Memorial Field House. And then we'll have the Welcome Festival. And then you'll have a meeting with your hall later that evening, and then also a Playfair at 9 p.m.
Thank you. All right, we have several questions asking about Grizz's Garage Sale. So can someone tell us more about what is Grizz's Garage Sale?
I don't know if anybody else wants to, but Grizz's Garage is basically a low cost kind of inventory that the school has where they sell pre-used items such as shelves, lamps, TVs, yeah, drawers, stuff of that nature to students for pretty cheap. All of it is just stuff that students have used in years past. It's usually checked for quality and like to make sure it's in good shape. And yeah, you can just go in. It is one piece of advice is you do kind of want to get there like a little early, depending on your check-in time because it can fill up fast for sure. So go in with like a list of what you want, and that would help you like to be the most efficient when finding the items.
Next question. I read on the campus resource tabling, we will be setting up computers, our computers. Does the university provide loaned computers? We might need a little bit more information for that question.
I can say that we offer loaners for short periods of time. So, like if you have a device and it breaks or you need to get it repaired for something like that, you can get a loan device from our tech services here, but it is not like a long-term semester loan for for multiple months necessarily.
All right, next question. Will there be more details coming out about activities during passages?
Yes. Sorry, wait. What was the question? Sorry.
The question is, will there about activities during passages, and when will more details be available?
Would that be for activities during your passages experience, or if it's an on-campus experience when you get back in the evening, if there are activities?
It is unclear. I think what I would say is that a schedule will be finalized and available online next week.
I can speak to one event though that
Sure.
like is pretty confirmed. Greek Life is hosting root beer floats as a chance to get to know current members of Greek Life and just like have fun that night. Let me get the actual date for it though. So sorry.
It's Saturday, August 29th.
Thank you. There we go. Saturday, August 29th.
Wonderful. All right, another question. Do you have any recommendations on next steps if assigned a roommate has not responded to outreach before move-in?
Speaking as a former RA, I would just suggest try and reach out again. If you can find their Instagram, that's a good way to reach out as well. But usually the roommate pairing process is pretty good and spot on. Cullen Green does really do his best to get good matches together. And then ultimately, like there is a process should things not work out, but usually they do. Usually they do.
Yeah, I was gonna make the same suggestion of just keep reaching out. If it's like a couple of days before move-in and you still haven't heard anything and you're like, what is going on? You can definitely contact the Residence Life Department. That's something that we're more than happy to kind of, facilitate those kinds of interactions. So any sort of doubt, especially the last couple of days before, we'll be available to answer any questions.
And Michael, we have another question here. Could you repeat the move-in times based on your room assignment?
Yes, like I said, this was all sent to you back in June. But I believe that it's if you have been assigned to live in a room that starts with 3, move-in starts at 9. If you're assigned a room with a 0 or a 4, move-in is going to start at 9:45. Rooms assigned with a 2 is the first stage, start at 10:30, and then first floor rooms start moving in at 11:15.
Thank you. All right, here's another one. I know, or I believe Dr. Brown wants to answer this. How are illnesses handled on campus? Do parents have paperwork to fill out in order for students to be treated? What is the cost?
Okay. So when students are feeling ill on campus, they come in and they make an appointment with our front desk, or we have an online portal as well that students can make an appointment on. And there is no paperwork that parents need to fill out. As a matter of fact, at that point, all of the information that happens for your student is confidential when they enter Counseling, Health, and Wellness Services, unless they are signing a release for you to know information. Counseling is free, and as are all of our counseling groups. And then there's also a service called You Will, which offers teletherapy. which students get 8 free sessions to. And it also hosts our crisis line, which is 24 hours, 7 days a week. In terms of medical services, our providers are as if you were seeing your primary care provider in the community. That is the type of service they provide. There is a fee for those appointments. We do not take insurance, but you can always take whatever the fees are and bill it to your insurance. We like for students to bring their insurance cards in because if there are lab fees or other things, we want to be able to connect them to insurance for those things. And of course, if there's an emergency, we want to be able to connect them to the hospital with those fees. Our fees, usually most appointments are between $20 to $40, depending on the type of appointment, who you're meeting with. And we also tell all students that no student should not come in due to the cost of an appointment, that we don't want fees to be a barrier for any student. So if that is a concern, they should let us know, and we resolve that really, really easily. So.
Thank you. I have another medical related question that I see here. How do we get medication sent to the school pharmacy?
That might be a Libby question.
Yeah, I can take that one. So we have a small dispensary within CHAWS with some of the commonly prescribed medications, for example, to treat strep throat, but we don't have a full pharmacy. So folks can have their prescriptions sent by a home provider to a local pharmacy in Tacoma. A lot of times students use Walgreens Pharmacy, which is near to campus, or Safeway Pharmacy, or there's a CVS in Target that students like to use. And if you don't know what to do with your medications, you can come in and schedule an appointment with us, and we can talk through the best steps. We can also take over the prescribing of that medication and work with a student to find the best option, whether it's from our supply or whether we send it to a local pharmacy. I will also add some students do have their medications shipped, like if they have mail order prescriptions, they can have those shipped to their mail stop, to the mail room on campus.
Great, thank you. The next question, is there anywhere that we can see dimensions of a specific room? They know they have access to the furniture dimensions and room layout, but they haven't been able to find the size of the full room.
I don't know that we have the exact dimensions, but if you go to the website on the frequently asked questions, you can look up the floor plans. That's what I would really recommend is you can see the individual floor plans and get a sense of what the room looks like based on those.
All right, next question. How do we find our address in the portal again? The mailing address, I believe, is the question.
Yeah, I can answer this one. If you go to My Puget Sound and then go to personal information, there is a place there for addresses, and you can see your address on campus. That is also where you can go to get your vehicle registered. So that is kind of in the same location there.
So that ties in with another question here we have. When will we know what the mailing address is on campus and it is already available in your portal? All right, another question for Residence Life. I do not have an assigned roommate. How common is it to not be paired with a roommate and have one person in a residence hall?
It's hard to speak to that specifically here. I mean, it does happen, but I would say it's much more uncommon to not have it is much more common to have a roommate. The vast majority of students on campus, especially in your first year, are going to have a roommate. So it's very uncommon, I would say, as a first year to not have a roommate.
All right, another question here. What else is there to do on move-in day?
So I think we kind of answered this in briefly in one of the earlier questions, but other than moving in, there are multiple different tables that are happening. So Campus Resources will be tabling, ASUPS, our student body government, will be tabling, our campus radio station, KUPS 90.1 FM. They will also be tabling, they'll be playing music during move-in day, so vibes will be up. ASUPS also has like a inflatable axe throwing station. As we said, you can go purchase any supplies you need or any like furniture you need from Grizz's Garage. You can check into Passages and go pick up any gear that you reserved for any outdoor experiences. And other than that, that's kind of all that's going on at that time from like 9 to 3. So, yeah.
That's great. And another thing, we've been talking to the Fred Meyer Tacoma location off of 19th, and they are going to offer some discounts for students with their Logger ID card. So it's just for the weekend of move-in, August 21st to 23rd. And so I did tell them that I would mention that. We'll also probably have some flyers available that day. But if there are things, Fred Meyer, if you're not from the Washington area, as I am not, you may know it by Kroger or any other brand, but it is a local grocery store in the area. And so just wanted to mention that. And another question that came in, am I able to loft my bed this year?
Beds, I believe, can be adjusted. So I think like, the stacking on top is not possible, but my understanding is that the beds can be adjusted to either go kind of down much closer to the floor, or a lot of students will choose to put it up really high and then kind of use that underneath bed space as storage. I'm seeing a lot of shaking heads from students, so it sounds like I'm that's really what is kind of going to be your ticket. I would especially really recommend kind of putting that bed up high and then using that underneath space for either any type of storage you might need.
I typed this in the chat answering one of them, but there's also usually a process for submitting work orders through your RA to get your bed lofted or flipped if it doesn't currently have the capability. So like if you move in and there isn't a way to make it taller, bear with us. We'll work on it if you need or want that.
Another question, are curtains something students should bring with them to move in, or will they be provided? Or could I possibly purchase them at Grizz's Garage?
I can't speak to like all rooms, but I know in most dorms they have like blinds that you can close and open. And so you do not need to purchase curtains. They like close pretty much like all the way. They block out sunlight if you close them all the way. So you can make your room as dark as you like or as light as you like. It's really up to you.
But there are like shades or something in the window.
Yeah, there are
Okay.
shades. And you can
Great.
like raise them to lower them to your preference. More roommate dispute than anything.
Thank you. Let's see. If your roommate is suddenly unable to attend, will you be notified?
Very likely yes. Yeah, that's highly likely that yeah, you will be notified in some way.
Is it too late to reserve a refrigerator?
You can't reserve anything at Grizz's Garage. It is a first come, first serve system. In my experience for my freshman year, people were lining up like an hour and a half in advance. So like definitely get there early if that's something you're looking to get from Grizz's Garage, or like anything else because they have some really good deals.
Great, thank you. All right, here's another question. My move-in time isn't until 11. When can I check in for passages?
You can officially start checking for passages at 10 a.m. and it'll be in the same place as where you'll get your key card and everything.
Yeah, so passages check-in will be at what we call a slab. It's the area outside the student union building, kind of right near the main like parking lot. We'll be basically right there as soon as you drive into the parking lot, helping you. All the passages leaders will be like directing you to where you need to go, if you have questions. So yeah, you'll have a lot of assistance if you need it.
Great, thank you. All right, let's see. Let's learn a little bit about student government here at Puget Sound. What is student government? How does it work? And is it like high school?
Yeah, I can start out with that answer, and then Grace, if I miss anything, please feel free to jump in. So the student government here, as I mentioned earlier in the call, is called the Associated Students of the University of Puget Sound. You're going to hear it referred to as ASUPS mostly. ASUPS does a lot of really important work. So the way I see it, our responsibilities are sort of divided. One of them is to just give the students really fun opportunities for involvement. The way that we do that includes sponsoring and funding all of the student clubs and organizations that exist on campus, including the radio show that was mentioned earlier, KUPS or CUPS. We also sponsor the student newspaper, things like that. I believe right now there are 80 active clubs on campus of all different sorts, including club sports, which compete nationally. ASUPS funds and sponsors all of those. But the second sort of responsibility, and something that I deal with quite a lot as the president of the student body, is just that representation of the student voice and student interests to the university. So, for instance, as president, I sit on the university's board of trustees, which is the highest governing body of the university. And so, through that, I and the rest of my colleagues in ASUPS sort of liaison with the university to communicate student concerns, student ideas, feedback to university decisions, things like that. So that's sort of a broad overview. But Grace, maybe do you want to talk about ways that students can get involved?
Yeah, so for first year students, we have like first year senator position. There's also the opportunity to be on committees like finance, budget, elections. We have like green fund and expressions funds, those types of things. And then also, within the medias are a part of ASUP, so you could always have a media role, writing for any of the newspapers or kind of like magazines we have or cups. You can be a DJ for the radio station that anyone in Tacoma and the surrounding area can listen to, which is super cool. Yeah, I think those are some of the like entry level kind of roles that you can do your first year, and then in future years you can join different programming positions. You can run for vice president or president. Lots of possibilities within ASUPS to kind of grow.
Thank you. Let's learn a little bit about fraternity and sorority life at Puget Sound. What is formal or primary recruitment?
So formal or primary recruitment is kind of in the name. It's our primary source of recruitment for fraternity and sorority life. For Panhellenic and IFC, this is going to look a little bit different. I know that the IFC recruitment schedule is a little bit longer than our recruitment schedule, so Will can speak to that a little bit more. But for Panhellenic, which is anybody who's non-male identifying could join a Panhellenic chapter, these are typically referred to as women's fraternities or sororities. We have a mix of these on campus, so we kind of stick to Panhellenic chapters. But our recruitment period is September 25th through September 29th. This will be a couple of days. We can get into that if people are interested. But yeah, the biggest thing about primary recruitment is that it's very structured. It's kind of the best way to get to know all of the sororities or fraternities on campus. And this is like our main form of recruitment. This is when you're going to meet the most people, when you're going to meet the most people that are in your class that are going to be going through and joining these chapters and things like that.
Fraternal recruitment will start September 22nd, and it's super laid back. It's called formal recruitment, but it's really just get to know the guys in each house and see if you decide if you want to belong there, and then go through with it. There's information already up on the IFC Instagram. I don't think I can like type it out to y'all on my end, but if you look up on Instagram, Puget Sound _ IFC, there are a few posts like just highlighting the introductory to recruitment. You can also come see us at Root Beer Floats. Happy to answer questions there. I'm pretty sure my phone number is also on the flyer. If you need to text me a question, happy to answer there as well. Yeah, but we're looking forward to getting to know y'all.
Thank you. New question. Are there fitness classes offered at UPS?
Somebody else may have more knowledge on this, but I know that we do have like PE classes. We have a lot of different ones. We have dancing ones like Zumba and ballet. We have like aerobics classes. We have like badminton, tennis. There are also, I'm not sure if they're like all offered in the same semester, but we have like some martial arts classes as well. And like yoga and Pilates. If they're more so referring to kind of classes outside of like the regular semester, I'm not sure about that, but I do know we have a powerlifting club if that would be of interest. So there's a wide variety.
We also have Puget Sound Outdoors, and we have backpacking and hiking and lots of outdoor opportunities, canoeing. And so that would be another way to stay active as well. Let's see. Had another question about family orientation. I see that the final family goodbye is Saturday, the 22nd at 5. Can you still help move in? And when are families expected to leave?
I believe that, oh, shoot. Sorry, the question.
Sure. It was like, yeah, so there'll be the final family goodbye at I believe 5 o'clock on Saturday the 22nd. Obviously families are welcome to stay and like continue helping their student move in if they require it. That day they will have some events relating to passages around like 6:45-ish, depending on like what group they're in. So they may need to leave for that, but families are welcome to stay and continue helping their student move in until the end of that day.
All right, another question. How do pre-med students participate in emergency medicine certification classes?
I don't think we offer any of those specific courses for like emergency medicine certifications or any sort of like certification courses through the school. I know a lot of people will do that coursework for those things during the summer separately and then work in those positions during the school year off campus. But there are a lot of like pre-health club does a lot of events. Sometimes they'll do trainings with CHAWS to like learn how to do different things. Or there's like free clinics you can work out. There's a lot of like different kind of clinical experiences that you can get both on campus and off campus. We just don't offer any certification courses at this time.
I do have to say that the school has a partnership with Cope Health Scholars on camp, or like sort of in the Tacoma area. There's 2 hospitals nearby that they partner with. I'm pre-med myself, and I spent quite a bit of time in that program, like 500 clinical hours there. So it's a really great opportunity, working alongside nurses, CNAs, you name it, I've done it. Yeah.
There's also a pre-health professionals committee, and so I'm sure you're a part of that, Will, but there are some advisors on campus that can help to link you up to lots of events that are happening in the community. And then in the chat, it was shared that PSO offers wilderness first response training as well. And I think that's usually in the summer, just after classes end.
Yes, I do need to plug my goats, Nova and Greg. They are amazing and they will help you answer any questions you need.
All right, next question. How do you find your passages activity assignment?
Okay.
I
Is
think it
it?
might be an immersive experience is what I would.
Yeah. Is it? Should be either an email or a tile in your My Puget Sound, I believe. That lets you know. Yeah.
Next question. Are there communal vacuum cleaners available for students to use in their dorms?
There aren't like communal vacuums, but usually there's a broom in like the communal like trash cupboard that you can use. Um, Definitely would get on using that. As an RA, I've had roommate disagreements get going about like trash and like dirt, so just be cleanly.
All right, next question. For outdoor overnight immersive experiences, how many students are assigned to each group?
Yeah, so the number varies a little bit for the outdoor overnights. I think in two of them, I think it's backpacking and car camping. I think it's about like 14 students in each group, not including leaders. And then I think in paddling, like overnight canoeing, I think it's about like 14 to 16. So it can vary from yeah, like 12 to 16. Yeah.
Thank you. Next question. What is the trash situation? Do we take ours down to the dumpster each week?
Um, each floor has a large trash receptacle, if you'll call it. To the city of Tacoma is pretty strict when it comes to like recycling. And our sustainability services does a pretty great job about outlining what is and is acceptable to be recycled on campus. So everything is nice and outlined for you, is like where things should go. But your room itself should have both a trash can and a recycling bin. It's generally good to take those out to the community one each week. And then the school has like custodial staff on duty that like vacuums, cleans, and takes out the trash each week, if not several times a week. So that's usually nothing to worry about.
Here's a new question. What noise level in the residence hall? What's the noise level kept at in the residence hall, especially at night? I'm in Todd Fibs and I want to know if the walls are thin or if noise carries easily. Would headphones be recommended?
I can take this one. I lived in TP my first year, and then I was an RA in TP my second year, so I have a lot of love for that building. It's definitely one of the louder dorm buildings just because it houses the most people on campus. So headphones are a good idea in general for studying and anything else, but there are generally quiet hours each day. Those will be outlined by your RA in your first community meeting. And you will have an RA on call phone that you can call if you do genuinely need to make a noise complaint. It's like, it's not something to take lightly though, because then you will wake your RA up in the middle of the night to then go knock on doors and go like, hey, let's keep it reasonable. Thanks. But yeah, Usually people are pretty respectful. I don't think walls are like super thin, not compared to like anything you would have at like home.
I think to kind of reiterate, like not only do we have the quiet hours that are like posted designated times of when things should be quiet, there's also courtesy hours in general. So, in general, if you have a speaker and you're blasting music and 10 floors, 10 doors down, they can hear you, somebody's gonna come and say, hey, the fact of the matter is, it is a lot of people living in kind of one confined space, right? And so I think that is something that we have continuous discussions about is as we're building this community is what does it look like to be respectful to the community? What does it look like to be considerate to the community? So those are kind of some conversations that we'll have, especially during the beginning of the year. But it's definitely as the resident director, noise is something that we take seriously, and we want to make sure that it's a positive educational environment for everybody.
Great. Can we comment on the noise level for, I believe it's Register as well as Schiff?
Well, me and Max were in Seward, which Seward and Register were remodeled at the same time. So I would probably say that they're are
Like similar environments. Um, it's like the walls are not like paper thin, but they're definitely like thin enough to the point where if you're getting like rowdy, you can hear, or if like other people are getting rowdy, you can hear them through the walls. Um, General advice is if somebody's getting rowdy, you can go knock on their door and ask them to quiet down if you really need it. Or I know in floor meetings, some people will be open and honest that they are louder at nights. So they're usually aware if like they get too loud that it's totally okay to come up to their door and ask them to quiet down. So kind of all depends. I think like Michael and Will said, if you have like disagreements, you can always talk to RAs and call RAs and let them know about the issue as well.
Great. Where are some good places you would suggest to study? This question is also asking to hear from a variety of students.
I'm in one of my favorite places to study right now. I'm in Thompson Harned, and it's our science building on campus. And I'm in like the chemistry resource room specifically. And there's a whole bunch of chemistry textbooks on the wall and models to use that people have open access to in this building. Another place, hold on, I'll take people on an adventure. Out this window behind me is Oppenheimer Cafe. Ooh, where is it? Oppenheimer Cafe. That's also a really great place to hang out and study. The noise is usually really respectful for a cafe, and it has a whole bunch of cool history that I encourage you all to explore when you get on campus.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm partial to the cafes because I work at Divs, which is the main cafe in Wheelock Student Center. I will say it is a little bit louder there. The biggest difference that I've found other than the noise is that in Oppenheimer it can kind of get pretty hot because the entire building is made of glass. So just prepare for that. I'm somebody who runs really hot already, so Divs is typically where I end up, but the library also has so many study rooms. Every floor has different study rooms, and as you go up, each floor gets quieter. I really enjoy the ones in the basement. They're pretty secluded, but they do book up pretty quickly. It's not like you have to reserve them or anything. It's like a first come, first serve basis, but there
You
are so
can
many
reserve them though. You can
Yes,
reserve if
there's
you are in
some
desperate need.
that you can reserve, especially for bigger groups. If you have like a big study group that you're doing for like a project or something, especially during finals. But there are so many study rooms in the library that I would definitely recommend getting use out of.
I was also gonna say,
John,
if you need to
oh,
feel like forced to lock in, the CWO, which is like it's like a peer tutoring resource we have that's free for every student. You can always go in there even if you don't want to meet with a tutor. And sometimes being around the tutors and around the people meeting with the tutors can really make you lock in. And they have like nice seating and chairs and couches and snacks and things in there. So
I'll echo what was said about the library. My study spots of choice are the second or the fourth floor of the library. As with most libraries, the rule is the higher you get, the quieter it gets. And I'm someone who really values peace and quiet when I'm trying to work. And so if you're like that, then the fourth floor of the library is your best bet.
Great. All right. Another question. How would you recommend getting involved in campus life or finding out about events during the year?
I'd
I'm
love to
gonna
answer.
plug
Oh,
Greek life on this one. Sorry, Archie. But yeah, definitely consider Greek life. Show up during recruitment, even beforehand. I just ask brothers and sisters like what everyone's up to. More than happy to talk about it later as well.
much like Will, I'm going to plug my own section of the campus, which is ASUPS. So every year, ASUPS hosts an event called Log Jam. Log Jam is our annual activities fair where all of the clubs, media departments, and programming organizations on campus all get together in one spot in Jones Hall, which is sort of I guess the main area of campus. It's right in the middle of the campus. You can't miss it. That will be taking place on September 3rd excuse me, September 4th, at 5 p.m. It's a 2-day event, so day one is on the 3rd, but the main day is September 4th. So that's going to begin at 5 p.m. That's when you can come and meet all of the clubs and other organizations on campus. That's where, as well, you can meet members of the student government. We can talk to you about alternative ways to get involved or ways to get involved in the student government, which is also great. So that's probably step one. And then step two is just keep an eye on things like the events calendar, read the flyers that are around campus, and just maybe ask students that are in grades above you how they got involved on campus, and then just kind of follow in their footsteps.
Great, thank you. Another question. It says on the website that temperature can be adjusted in each room, so there is AC, correct? Could you also talk more about what SCHIF is like?
Sorry, there isn't AC in the dorms, but there is an adjustable heater, so you can make it as warm as you would like. And each RA in each building will conduct like inspections before the semester starts to ensure that things are still working. And as always, just let your RA know if they aren't working, and they'd be happy to get that work order in. And then speaking to SCHIF, a good friend of mine lived in SCHIF my first year, so I spent a lot of time in there. They have a really cute study room. It's kind of like this like sort of tower building, and it has like this like wraparound window, like loft sort of, where you can just see a lot more of like the trees and like outside. And there's like a whiteboard in there for studying and a few couches as well.
Okay, so
I would also just have to say that like it's really only pretty warm for like the first 2 months, and then it's pretty manageable. For me, when I was in dorms, I would go to Goodwill or Value Village to get like cheaper fans because they are very helpful.
And going back to the question about getting involved, we have some Instagram handles that were shared in the chat, so I'm just going to share those. At Puget Sound, or excuse me, yeah, at Puget Sound Outdoors, at Puget Sound Passages. That is where we are sharing for orientation, as well as at Puget Sound Greek Life, at Puget Sound _ IFC. And then we have at Puget Sound _ Panhellenic. So those are all great resources, as well as if there's any. And then we also have a at Puget Sound SIP. I think it's SIP at Puget Sound, maybe. Yeah, I just found that one recently myself. I'm new. Any others we should mention? What's ASUPS, Archie?
ASUPS is the Associated Students of the University of Puget Sound. They're a student government.
The Instagram, sorry. I
Oh,
didn't phrase
sorry.
that correctly.
I was
What is
answering
the
a question in the
Instagram?
chat.
Sorry.
So ASUPS social media, I believe, is just asups.tacoma.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Thanks. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. And next question, could you perhaps talk about Harrington Hall? Are there any fun features?
I'm pretty sure their kitchen was just redone recently.
Harrington has some really great lounges. So I would say that a lot about a lot of North Quad buildings is that there's some really, really cute little lounges. And something that really kind of happened organically in Harrington that was really cool last year is that the folks that live there just started to decorate it like seasonally. So we started to see, kind of Halloween decorations in October and then Christmas decorations in December. But definitely was a very tight-knit community, and that's kind of one of the things that I really appreciate about Harrington.
North Quad as a whole also has like a tree bench swing sort of situation, which is really fun.
Right. Well, we are wrapping up. I did see a question come through earlier about the weather. Is any, as someone who, as I said, is a little bit new, uh, recent transplant to Washington, I think it would be great if some locals or students that have been here could give us some thoughts on the weather and how to be prepared.
We could talk
Currently
about that.
Me
85.
and Max are from Washington. And I would have to say that I know a lot of people talk about how much it rains here, but it's not quite as bad as you may think. I would definitely say you may want to invest in a rain jacket.
Definitely invest in a good one. Columbia, always a good one. They make good like cheap rain jackets. I personally would sponsor them. So
It did snow once last year, but it usually doesn't snow, and it usually doesn't
yeah,
get super below like
no, it won't get
freezing.
like cold. It can get in winter to about like it can get to 30s for sure, but more so it's more common to get into like the low 40s. I will say for like late fall, early winter, and like late winter kind of transitioning into spring, definitely have a heavier jacket. It gets pretty windy. I don't think that's talked about as much. The wind will get you. The wind makes it a lot colder than it seems. So invest in a good jacket, a good heavy jacket, and a good like rain jacket, I would say.
Great advice. Thank you. All right. Let's wrap up with a couple last ones here. Do the bathrooms get crowded in the morning? And what would be the optimal time to get ready without a lot of extra noise?
That's just gonna depend like year to year, group to group living in each building. I would definitely toe the water, or so to speak, like the first couple of weeks and just like learn what the vibe is in your dorm. But honestly, the earlier the better.
All right. Another question. Do students have opinions on weatherproof backpacks? Do you suggest waterproof or water-resistant backpacks?
I don't know of like a lot of people that have gotten like waterproof backpacks. I personally have a North Face backpack that I got like back in senior year of high school, and I think it holds up to the like conditions pretty well. I will say like if you're traveling outside in between classes, it's usually no more than like a 5 minute walk in like kind of between any like location. So as long as you hustle, you probably won't get like too soaked. So yeah, I like waterproof and water resistant backpacks aren't like necessary, but that would be cool to have for sure.
All right. We are getting close to time. One last question. I would like to understand if a student could live off of a meal swipe or off of the meal plan.
I mean, I would say that you may want to invest in a bit of a higher one, unless if you're planning on cooking your own meals. I think that for plan A, I don't know how the meal swipes are working this year, to be honest, but I know that I think A says like one meal a day is
Yeah,
kind of
Plan
like
A has 5 meal swipes a week, which is good at the campus.
All right,
Oh
we're
no, that
gonna
one's 10. Meal plan A is 10. I was thinking of one of the off-campus plans. I'm so sorry. Yeah, meal plan A is 10 swipes. And then you have like $450 in flex cash, which is good at campus cafes. And like the Lager store, which is sort of a convenience store.
Yeah, so the meal swipe plan is changing a lot this year, and I was in a lot of like the open houses and stuff for that last year to answer some student questions. And I saw one question a second ago about meal swipes versus meal exchanges. A meal swipe is something that you can use in the dining hall exclusively. So that is anything that can fit on a tray, with the exception of like bottled beverages and like luxury items, which are anything that's not in the typical like 20-ounce soda water fountain cup thing. Um, and then the meal exchanges, you can take one meal swipe per day and use that at a campus cafe. It's only up to $12 in value. So you can use it at a campus cafe, the Cellar, which is our on-campus pizza restaurant, or the Lager store. And that is anything that's up to $12 in value. That's the difference between a meal swipe and a meal exchange. I would say that the way that it's formulated is very much so like choose your own adventure, choose what's going to work best for you. If you want more flex cash, that's going to be more like the luxury goods, so more campus cafes, more of the Cellar, more of the Lager store. Whereas meal plan C, where you have 3 meals per day, that's like if you're a very structured eater, like I'm getting 3 meals per day. I don't really need like a coffee that often.
Great. Thank you, Caitlin. All right. Well, in the interest of time, we want to be respectful to everyone. We appreciate you joining us. This is a great turnout, and we look forward to welcome you to the University of Puget Sound in just a couple weeks. So safe travels, and we will see you on August 21st. Take care.